Um, what I think about sometimes is do you know the Comic Strip Live in New York?
Oh, yeah.
You know that club?
Yep.
That was the first club I ever got passed at. And there was a guy, his name was Lucian Hold. And he was the guy that would pass you. You know, you've heard of like Esty at the Cellar. He was like Esty at the Cellar. He was the guy.
Yeah, there's always that person.
There's always a person that was a gatekeeper. And I went in there when I was like 18. And what was cool about the Comic Strip was they had a thing where anybody could audition. Like you just lined up and then you could audition.
It's just kind of crazy.
Which is like, because, I don't know if this was your experience when you were starting out, but it's like you just wanted a shot, right?
Oh, yeah.
You just wanted a shot. And the idea of that you could be a regular at the comedy club. I remember I used to go to the Comedy Cellar and I'd just be like, oh my God, could you imagine just getting spots here? Could you imagine just how amazing it would be to get spots? That was my dream.
I know, you're so right.
And so I went to the comic strip. They had this, open call, like you just had to wait in line, and then you'd pick from I believe what it would do is you'd pick from a lottery and it would give you a date.
A date?
Yeah, like they would do on Mondays, they'd have a certain number of people that were from this audition.
That's cool.
So I picked a date, and then I showed up, and you went through this one woman, and if she said, okay, you can see Lucian, you'd audition for Lucian. And so I got through it, and then I auditioned for Lucian, and you wait around, all these kind of things. Even like SNL, you hear these stories of people like, yeah, you didn't just wait around. They just make you wait around. And then he spoke to me at the end, and he was like, you could start working at the club. And I was like, oh, and I was terrible. I was not good, but I was like very young, and I was very comfortable on stage. And he told me, he was like, when people your age come in here, he was like, you're still at NYU, right? And I was like, yeah. He said, Adam Sandler was in NYU when I passed him, and so was Sarah Silverman. And I was like, oh, wow. I mean, I remember I said, oh, wow, it'd be amazing if I had a career like that. He's like, I don't know if that's in the cards for you, but you could. He was like the most straight shooting guy. I mean, there's very few people that are honest like that I've met in my 20-something years.
I know.
He was the guy that was like that. And he was like, I don't know if that's is not an impression of him, but he was like, I don't know if that's something that's in the cards for you, but you could start working in the club, and I would do you would do like late night, which is like they'd have the show, and then you could sign up to go on at the end of the show. So there'd be like nobody there. I do that all the time.
For sure, but getting up on stage, even just that
everything.
Walking up, when you're coming up, if there's 6 people there, it feels like 1,000,000 people.
You're so excited.
The feeling that is the energy, that the fear and that energy and that nervousness, it feels like 1,000,000.
And sometimes, and I'll say this, and you're going to light up because you'll know this feeling. Sometimes someone on the bill, like that was supposed to be on at like 9 o'clock, wouldn't show up, and they'd pull someone from late night. And so you'd get to go on.
When people were still there.
Still there, yes. And I remember one time,
like, I'm going to show these bitches. That's what I would say. I had kind of an aggressive nature, but go on.
Yeah, but it was like this kind of like, I'm going to get to prove myself a little bit. But, one time I remember Chris Rock dropped in, and I went on after him. And like everyone's like, oh, Chris Rock just went on. They just all start leaving. And I told Chris this story the other day. I was like, I forgot this. And now he's my fucking friend. It's the craziest thing in the world to me. But Lucian, he had a disease called scleroderma. I don't know why I'm saying the disease he had, but anyway,
is
he
that
passed
ashy
away.
Skin? No,
it's like a skin problem. Yeah. I don't know what it is exactly, but
scleroderma. And
this dude stopped looking up stuff because it's gotten too dark. The stuff we're talking. He's like, I'm not gonna pull up this stuff on Wikipedia. It's too dark. He's like, I don't think it's appropriate. I'm just gonna let this be. I'll wait till they start talking about mini cows again. I can pull up those cute pictures.
He has like a whole barrel full of.
Maybe I do bring it up because if someone wants to donate to his fund or whatever. So Lucian had this disease, and we knew he was passing away, and I went and visited him, and it was like that movie Being Mortal. It was like I knew he was passing away. I knew this was probably our last conversation, and this dude passed away. Chris spoke at his funeral. I think Seinfeld may have said something. I can't remember. I remember I went to the funeral, and I was like a little kid. I remember I went and was crying in the bathroom and stuff because this dude was the first dude ever to genuinely believe that I could do something in our world. The first person to say, hey, I'm going to give you, and it was like fucking $10 or whatever, but he was like, I believe in the idea of paying you to tell jokes. And
that's cool.
And he, we had a conversation, and I remember he said something to me, and he talked about some comic that he used to know that went to LA, and not like a super successful guy, but a guy that did okay. And he was like, you know, he said this guy told him that he was in LA, and he said that that's Lucian. Yes, that's Lucian Hold. Yeah. But I mean, he's like, you know, if you talk to guys like,
they love him.
Yeah, and they remember him from back in the day. Like
he was a character.
He's the guy that passed, you know, Eddie Murphy, and like the famous story of Chris Rock is like Eddie Murphy was at the club, and he asked Lucian, "Do you have any black comics?" And he said, "Yeah, I got one. I'll put him up if you'll watch him." And it was Chris Rock.
Wow.
And then Eddie Murphy watched him and then put him in Beverly Hills Cop 2. But anyway,
dude, that's so great though.
It's a huge deal. It's a huge amount of validation because I can't really explain. It's still like when I think of all the things I've done in my career, it's still I was excited as about that. I mean, dude, it was like I think it was like 10 years ago. I did Madison Square Garden. It was a similar feeling to get past.
Yeah,
you know. And but anyway, he told me the story about some guy in LA, and he said that guy told him, like, you know, there's all these idiots in LA, and if they're able to do it, I can do it too. Something to that extent. Like, and it was said it more eloquent than that. I'm not doing it justice, but he basically said to me, "You're gonna be okay." And he left me with that, and it was really cool.
Lucian did?
Yeah, he said, "You're gonna be okay. Like, you're a smart guy, and you're gonna be okay." And I mean, I've been fortunate enough, and I think I mean, that was when I was a little kid. You know, I hadn't done anything really, and you know, I feel like I've been fortunate enough in my career to be more than okay, and done a lot of great things I never would have thought possible when I was, you know, interacting with Lucian. And you know, one of my not regrets, or I don't know, not just one of my oh man kind of feelings is that, like, oh, this guy that was the first guy to believe in me,
to see me,
didn't get to see that how far I really went, you know. And weird, sorry, I feel like I'm like taking up too much of your time.
No, this is good.
Okay.
Well, you're a great storyteller. I'm realizing
thanks.
that's honestly one thing I've realized sitting here, and I can see why you're able to do what you do even more, like writing your movies and knowing, like, saying how streamlined it is. I'm enjoying it. So go on. Sorry.
You know, it's I was in a cab one time in London, and I was like, it's weird because once you become successful, it's weird when you drop into a comedy club, everyone goes nuts, and everything's a little sweeter because they're excited because you're famous. And I was in a cab with my wife in London, and someone was like, tell us about this thing or whatever. And I talked about this whole story of something that happened to us. And when I left, the cab driver said, "Hey, you're a really good storyteller." And I was like, holy shit. That was like winning an Emmy for me, because I was like, that guy has no clue who I am. And he went out of his way to tell me that. That made me feel really good.
Was he an Indian guy?
No. Why would he be Indian, Theo?
Racism.
He was like a black guy that was fully Finnish.
Okay. Very
He was
fair.
a fully Finnish black guy. He was a black guy.
I love race stuff. It's fun to joke about and think about because it's so different and it's fun, you know?
Well,
it's
that's, I think...
But that's, you're right, man. Sorry. But yeah, somebody telling you you're a great storyteller. It's so funny. It's someone just that one word or one thing. It's like...
And you get it from someone that doesn't know anything. Because sometimes you feel like, oh, man, like, not like, oh, people... you feel like, I don't know how much of this is sweetened up because of whatever. And it's very frustrating because I don't think anyone that's successful like that wants any of that. But, you know, you get a little bit of that when you drop in and you're working on material. And you know, when you're on stage for a while, eventually
you don't even know if it's that
care.
good. That's the worst part. You're like, is this even good? And you're like, are you just getting unfair reactions? But then hopefully if you're self-aware enough and that judge inside of you, that little part of you that's always hated you is still like lurking around.
You got to have that guy in